was given any more responsibility because they never completely surrendered to the game plan of the company. Is that you? Number two, you have the overachiever or the go-getter. I know some of you guys in here, you're the go-getters. Where, dude, you're supposed to be in the office at 7, you're there at 6:30. Doing more research. Getting after it. You're a go-getter. You fully bought into the program of the CEO, the vision that he's cast. And it doesn't matter what it is. There's a task there, you're doing it. You got the pot of coffee ready to go for everybody, and you're staying late, and you're picking up trash in the bathroom, and whatever the task is, it doesn't matter, you're going for it. Which one would describe you in God Incorporated? There's a guy I just met with in Florida. He is the general manager of a Volkswagen dealership down there. Developed a great relationship with him. Went to go see him. We began this talk kind of about his past and how everything went with him. He was that guy. He was the go-getter. He started off he was in sales. And there was a lot of slackers on the sales team, but Holmes would show up early. He bought into the way the CEO talked about their sales and everything. Just went for it, day by day by day. Was going for it. And next thing you know, promotion after promotion after promotion. A handful of years later, here's this young guy, the GM of the #1 dealership for Volkswagen in America. In fact, the #2 VW dealership in the world that God exalts him to. Now, in fact, he told me, I'm going to talk to him about the whole pride deal, but anyway, he told me in the month of December, now picture this, in the month of December, in a pretty rough market, I don't know if you guys are in car sales, but I've had some good friends that are in that. In the month of December, he led a team that sold 431 vehicles in 1 month. The previous record was 349 of all time in that store. You see, this dude was a go-getter, and he fully surrendered to the game plan, and he was exalted through the ranks. Yes, the CEO, the owner, chose him to be his point man, but why did he do it? He was fully surrendered. Speaking of fully surrendered, there's a couple of quarterbacks that will probably be probably Peyton Manning and Drew Brees will probably be in the Super Bowl, and no predictions or anything. Why do you think they will get there? Why do you think they've had the success? Do you think that they just go, "Yeah, I'd really like to be an NFL quarterback. I'll just sit on the couch and kind of tell everybody what to do and I'll just show up"? No. They were fully committed to the head coach's game plan and vision. They were watching film late. They were studying the game. They were lifting weights. They were getting after. They were fully surrendered, fully committed. And the question is, are you? Am I? I was challenged once again at this conference, and I felt honestly like a slacker. I'm seeing the holiness and the reverence and the purity and the power of some of these men that are just fully committed to God and His game plan. And totally honest with you, I felt like a backslider, man. I don't know if you guys know what a backslider is. The dude that's just like, sweet, I don't care about guys. I don't know if you know, in the Christian walk, you're either going forward or you're falling behind. There's no neutral. It's like you're at the top of a hill. You want to just put in neutral and go cruise control in your Christian walk. You go backwards down the hill. Now, in our text today in Job, we're actually going to turn to chapter 22. And here's the deal. As I read throughout the week, there were several things God gave to me, but I felt Him kind of zeroing in on this chapter. And what it is, let me just give you context. There's one of Job's homeboys named Eliphaz. In this chapter, he is going to assume that Job is in a backslidden state and that he's got some secret sin going on. And so Eliphaz is going to challenge Job in this text. So number one, we find out that Job wasn't in a backslidden state. He didn't have any known repetitive sin in his life. But I do want to take this and challenge us backsliders in heart. Me, I'm number one. And I want to look at this and see how we can be challenged by God. You guys up for that? Let's take an honest look at our heart, man. And not to be beaten up by God today. But like a good coach, what does a good coach do? Every now and again, man, some dude's slacking, takes him up in his office, and is like, listen, dude, there's way more for you. You got way more potential. Let's go. And he's doing that because he wants to draw the best out of his athletes. And that's what the game plan is today. Job 22, let's start at verse 1. Then Eliphaz, I like these names here. Eliphaz the Temanite answered and he said, can a man be profitable to God? In other words, can I be used by God? Though he who is wise may be profitable to himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that you are righteous? Or is it gain to him that you make your ways, and you can underline that, make your ways blameless? Pause right there. That word, if you want to circle that word blameless in the Hebrew, is tamam. It's T-A-M-A-M. And doesn't mean that you are perfect, but it actually means that you walk uprightly. You have a desire for integrity. Your heart is willing to fully submit, and that's kind of where we get this. And I see in these first three verses, can I be used by God? Yes. If I make my way blameless, if I honestly, in my heart, I'm desiring to fully surrender to God. I'm seriously desiring His holiness in my life. Now, before we go any further, let's remind us this. Okay, that kind of sounds almost like I'm going to work my way into a good relationship with God. Let me pause real quick and make sure we understand this. You are only righteous because the righteousness of Christ that was given to you because of His perfect life. The Bible says, you can note it down, 2 Corinthians 5 and 21. You don't have to turn there, write it down, and you can go check it out. But here's what it says. For He made Him who knew no sin to become sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in Him. What does that mean? For God made Jesus, who knew no sin, He was perfect, to become sin for us. All of our sin was upon Him, that we might become the righteousness of God in Him. Listen, Christian, if you have submitted your life to Christ, you have received the greatest blood transfusion ever. It was Christ's perfect blood that was shed at the cross in exchange for our dirty blood. And by faith, when we receive Christ, it's like a transfer. My nasty, sinful, stained blood goes on to Jesus on the cross. He imputes His righteousness, perfect blood, right into me. And now as God looks down from heaven, He sees by faith that I've received Christ, and He sees me as perfect. It is what Christ has done, not what I can do. If you try to earn your way into good merit with God, you will fail. It's been done. However, because of that fact, do you and I not want to pursue holiness? That's the question. If you want God to use you, it's full surrender. Now let's look at verse 4. Is it because of your fear of Him that He corrects you? And I underline that nailed it. That He corrects you and enters into judgment with you. Is not your wickedness great and your iniquity without end? Pause right there. I think there's times in your life and in my life that we're not really pursuing that. We're not really fully submitted. And God sees so much better for you, so He'll allow things to come into your life to correct you, to challenge you. Again, it's like that coach bringing you into his office and having a word with you. Or maybe an employer knowing that you're slacking and you have so much more potential, and he brings you into the office and he says, listen, dude, if you don't get those sales up, you're canned. Now, he's probably saying that because he wants to get rich. But let's just say you have a cool boss that really sees potential in you and wants the best out of you. Turn over to Hebrews 12 for a moment. for a moment,